Let me ask you one question. Do you create content or are you looking to become a content creator? Then this podcast is for you. In conversation with architect Rishabh Wadhwa, the face behind BlessedArch, you must know him from his Instagram and YouTube channel. He speaks about what inspired him to start his own channel, and when two content creators are in conversation, then you know what happens? You will get to know at the end.
Hey yo guys, welcome back to my channel, and today on this episode...
Dude, my show.
Oh sorry, I forgot.
Yeah. Okay, let's start the interview then. Hey Rishabh, how are you? And should I call you that blessed human or Rishabh?
Hey Sagar, first of all thank you for inviting me and you can just call me Rishabh.
Okay then Rishabh. So we have all seen you on Instagram and YouTube talking about architecture, but today let's talk more about you. So starting with our first segment, which is creating a creator. So as you know, Instagram and YouTube is a tool which is becoming a great deal in architecture. And hence I wanted to have this interview with a content creator also. So let's start the first question. How you came up with an idea of creating content for YouTube and Instagram?
So, I actually started this channel back in 2014, and that time I was also in second year of architecture. I did not really want to. It wasn't what it is today. It wasn't a channel geared towards architecture. It was just me having fun on YouTube. It was random. I used to follow a lot of YouTubers like Lily Singh, Connor Franta, Joe Sugg. So they used to do like fun stuff. Lily was one of the biggest inspirations. So she used to do like funny skits. And I used to do that. I used to do skits on YouTube. And so that is what I started off with. So it's been quite a journey since then. So 2014 when I started, I used to just do random things on YouTube and it sort of slowly evolved into becoming more about architecture.
I started this page in like lockdown 2020. And again, as we were talking the dreams before this interview about the dream, this was again a dream that I have to start a page and saying it's a virtual portfolio. And yeah, I started with it. I started with my YouTube tutorial videos of Revit. And then slowly I came back on Instagram, like saw that like people are growing, saw many posts. Even I got inspired from your post as well. So there were many channels, many pages where I used to see content. Pehle to it's like uthao or do the same thing, just copy paste what people are doing and just paste it on your channel. So I did that at the start, but later I saw that, okay, you have to create your own content, otherwise you'll not grow. I deleted all my old content, like some funny stuff or something like that. Not the funny stuff started much later. And then I started the page.
That is true. I mean, everybody I think starts with that, with just trying to imitate and do it in that particular way. And then you slowly figure out your own style as you go along.
Yes. So one more question to this idea of content creation, how you came up with the name. I know this is very common question, but yeah, I have to ask.
Okay, so BlessedArch as a name. So obviously there are two parts to it. There's the arch part that comes from architect. So the short for it, arch. The blessed part of it. So I talk about it in all my interviews. The thing is, I have always felt blessed in my life. I guess I know that in a lot of ways I had opportunities. Right from the school that I went to, the opportunities that were provided to me in school, and the theater that I did in school is, I think, a part of who I am today, and that is why I do things the way I do today, is because I was a theater kid back in school. So there are so many things that I think it's an acknowledgement of all the blessings that I have in life, and that is why the name BlessedArch. It's just, I think, even back then, I don't know if it was as deep a thought back then, or I just quickly kept it BlessedArch. But I think at the back of my mind, it was about acknowledging the fact that I do feel blessed, and just making a name from that. and it was just a fun thing. I did not know this would actually grow into what it is today. So at that time I was like, I just need to keep a name, BlessedArch.
Yeah, but this is like a very cool name. I find it very cool. So like another question to you is what has been inspiration for architecture?
So okay, first I'll talk about the inspiration for joining architecture. I think I had decided back in 10th standard that I wanted to do architecture, because at that time you also have to choose 11th, 12th what you want to take, right? So I had decided sort of I want to do architecture. Obviously that came from a very limited understanding of what the field actually is. You think in 10th standard, it's a mixture of art and science, so let's take architecture.
Yeah.
But you understand much more of it when you're in the field. So I think that is where I took architecture, and just hearing about it from family, friends and stuff like that. That was my inspiration for taking up architecture. In general in life, what inspires me now today, much more than architecture, I would say, because I every day through my content, through my page, I connect with amazing architects, amazing people who are doing amazing work. And obviously all of them are inspirational. But my greatest inspirations now lie outside of architecture, within the media space. Because I do believe a huge part of what I do is not just the architecture of it, but the media of it, of how I create it. And that is why a lot of inspirations for me today are Troye Sivan, Hasan Minhaj, John Oliver. So the kind of things these guys do, how they blend in humor with what they create. Other than that, I also look at creators like Johnny Harris, how they are creating their videos. And when I'm looking at his video, like Johnny's videos, I sort of not just look at them for their content, but I also look at them for the editing style. I legit sit frame by frame to break down how he sort of made his video and what is making it so compelling. And I think that is where nowadays I derive a lot of my inspiration from, just media in general.
I think you have jotted down people only see the content but do not see how it is made. And I think you have explained it very nicely that you study a lot from the creators who are there and creating some good content there, and then you're doing. So
yeah, I mean, it is also about the fact that even though it's architectural content, what you need to understand, and any creator out there, if they want to be a creator, what they need to understand, it's still about content creation. And you can't just see architecture creators out there. If you really want to create content that the masses will consume, you will have to look at the content that is created for the masses, not just because architecture community is a small community. People all over the world in the community sort of know each other. It came as a shock to me, I think 2 years back, when people started knowing BlessedArch, like in London, in New York. And now I understand it's a much smaller community. So now people know each other all over the place. But if you want to create content for people in general, you need to also understand how that content is get towards them, and you need to keep leveling up your game. That comes from understanding content creation, production in general, and not just the content part of it.
You are doing very great job for creating content and sharing some information with us with humor.
Thank you.
So the next question to you is your architecture experience as a student and now as a creator.
When I was a student, the thing was, I used to keep myself busy, and I used to keep doing loads of stuff. I think in second, third year, I had taken part in so many competitions. At one time, I was just moving around like a zombie because I had no time for anything at all. So what has remained constant is the fact that I still find out the next project, the next thing. I jump onto that as soon as I find out the crux of what I want to do in that project, whether back then it was architectural, today it's content. As soon as I know what I want to do and how I want to do it, I just jump right in, and I'm just get towards them, just doing it. And so back then it was more architectural, it was more buildings. As soon as I knew because there were times I used to struggle with how I want to create this particular project. And this especially for my thesis, I think half a semester, I was just struggling because I did not know how, there were so many things in my thesis. I did not know how to correlate them together, because to me, and this I said to my thesis guide, he was like, my process किसी को समझ नहीं आ रहा था. Like nobody in my whole teacher panel understood what my process was, why I was doing it. I just remember my thesis guy telling me, why don't you just make some draft plans and we'll go from there. I was like, sir, I don't have a guiding concept behind it. I don't have a guiding theory behind it of how to place things. To me, it is just taking compositions and placing it on the side. Am I an architect or am I an artist? And I literally said it to him. And he just looked away at me and he was frustrated. But I think once I found out what I really wanted to do, my actual concept, I think from then on, it was like full speed ahead. So it was for architecture back then. It is for content creation now. As soon as I find it, it's full speed ahead. But I would say this, I think in general, content creation, I'm just happier doing it of two reasons. One, I don't think, even though it's a lot of work, I still don't think it is as much work as architecture, because again, in architecture, you're doing a lot of tasks, creating a lot of drawings that from project to project might be repetitive, but you have to do it and make changes according to your project. They're kind of those small tasks that take a lot of time, which to me, I feel like a little, I don't like doing them. Like I like doing newer things.
It is like one thing you love and you start putting efforts in that and you feel it is effortless now. So that happens. I think that happens with you when you create.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Now, so with content, even though there are a lot of things that you have to do, one, there's always newer things that keep coming up in content. So I'm really inspired by it. The timelines is much shorter in creating content than it is in architecture, because you spend so much time in a project in architecture. Content is much shorter. The work, I would say, in a lot of ways, my timeline is still the same of how I worked back then to how I work today. But now I think I'm just more joyful about it. I look forward to it. So it just gets done much faster, much easier.
But I think creating the content, I think editing is the tough task when there are 4 people speaking, match the audio, match the video and everything.
To me, at this point, that is not the task. In my whole process, even though, especially in interviews, I find them to be very easy to edit, because I just have to edit out the conversation. There's not much for me to do. The problem, the one stage is research, when I'm researching for the project and I'm I'm reading article after article. I'm reading so much to get, it's just a 10-minute video, but I'm reading for 4 days to try and get information for that 10-minute video. And then I think while editing, obviously editing takes a lot of time, but it can also be stressful at times. But I don't know, in hindsight, it's always,
but I think it's fun. You have to keep listening to it, keep finding errors in that, and at the end, you're satisfied. What if
I am really, when I keep looking at the product that came out, and I'm just happy. And so I like the process in that way, that I love the output also that comes out from it.
So I think you shared one thing about the idea, and you get the idea and you move towards it. It's quite the same happens to me. I have shared some my views with you. I get an idea and I go full-fledged with it, and yes, I have to do it and I go towards it. Same happened with my thesis as well. But maybe I will tell that story to you someday later. So yeah, moving to our next segment, which is knowing the process. So the first question is your goal through this page.
So when I started, I don't think I had a goal with the page. I think I just wanted to become a famous YouTuber. That was the goal. But I think then in the middle, it sort of changed. It has been changing. I think as I change, my goal also changes. So a few years back, it was pretty concrete that I wanted to create a team and I want to make BlessedArch a full-on media thing. Nowadays, when I revisit that goal, I'm not so sure, to be honest. even though it's not like I don't want people and I don't want to employ people and I don't want, because I know right now I have somebody who creates the did you knows for me, and he does a fantastic job, because he brings in his own ideas, his own prowess to the whole process, which is amazing. And now I can see how that could benefit me. But I also do understand what it means to have a company and have people work under you. And I don't know if that responsibility is something that I want to take on right now or in the near future. What I do know is I love creating content, and my goal right now is to take my content to another level, in the sense that I want to travel to projects and document them, and interview people on site and create those kind of content as well. And that is, I think, the next step that I'm looking at. And I have, even though there is a long game at the back of my head, I don't think about it as much, because I know what is important is the next step you take. And that is why, even though I have my goals in mind, my immediate focus stays on the very next video.
Yes.
Because nothing works if that doesn't work. So I mainly keep focusing on the next video ahead. But the goal in general in life would be first to scale up the content, make it much bigger. Because now I think my parents are also started to see a little bit how this can be a proper thing that I do for like quite a while in my life. And a big part of that is the finance part of it as well, which has now started working out quite well. So I think just having it be more sustainable, what I do, that is one of the main things. And once I achieve that, I think then I can start expanding, start taking the content to another level, and start thinking about how this can grow into much more. Because now also I can see I do have the power, and I'm trying to sort of dive deeper into it. Is I have the power to connect people from all over the world now. And it's so amazing that I post a story and like 12,000 people are sort of replying to it, engaging with it, which is amazing, which is baffling to me, and amazing. But I want to use that and create more collaborative stuff with people together. But all of that is in the future. The first, I think, goal is sustainability, but the main focus is the very next step that I take.
I was very happy that your first reel collab was with me.
Yeah, I have never done a reel collab before that.
I have also never done a reel collab, so I just I was like, will he reply? Will he do reel with me? Like,
of course.
I know, but you don't create a humorous reel like you in rarely only. You create more.
Yeah, and that is what I was thinking. Maybe I should start creating more. It's much more informative.
I saw your story that I also said, yes, you should make more. Like, it was funny, and like it is good. Like, you should have humorous content on your page.
Yeah, I think I'll start making more of it.
Moving on to our next question. So what is your process when you interview an architect, and when you find any post related ideas, what is your process?
I think so it is different for different types of content. When I'm doing the content for Instagram, suppose it's a post, right? The process is very different. It's much faster. It's like done within like an hour. I quickly look for newer things that I want to do. If I have something in mind, great. If I don't, I look for something that I want to do. I quickly create the post and like put it up. Like it's much faster. When I'm creating that reel of Did You Knows, that obviously takes me a little more while, where I research reels. Like just before this interview, I was just shooting like the Did You Knows for the next week. So like I do it like in that process. I take out like 6 to 10, maybe 20 facts in a row, and I shoot as many as I can. And then first I used to do it by myself, but now I have a person, so I send it to him, and then he edits for the whole week. So there is that process that goes in when I'm creating like Did You Knows. For interviews, I think the longest time just goes in chasing people.
Yes.
And like figuring out schedules.
Yes.
I think that is the biggest time-taking process that comes in an interview. I think the interviews for me are the easiest because I don't have to do anything.
Yes.
I just have my questions and I just ask them, and the person just goes on talking. And so that is why I think interviews are the easiest pieces of content for me. It is the other kinds of videos, the informative ones where I have to research and like edit a whole lot. That is, I think, takes a whole different. Even I am very particular about the music that I choose in my videos. Interviews have nothing. I don't have to choose music. I don't have to put on visuals. I don't have to do nothing. In other videos, especially when I'm creating documentaries, any piece of documentary, especially of late that you pick up, like any videos that you pick up, I think November, December, January, music you'll see is a huge part of that, because I spend 4 hours sometimes just to find one track, because I know how important it is,
and it should be copyrighted as well.
So that now though, at first it used to feel it's a time-taking process, but now I know resources where I can find music that is free. So I only look from that. I think if I go for the paid version, the process would be much easier and much faster, because I'll be able to find better music. But at the moment, I just look for free stuff, and that is why it's also time taking much more, because I have to listen to each and every track till I find the right track.
Yes.
So that's it is very stressful at times, but I know the value the correct music can add, right? So that process of creating those kind of videos is quite lengthy. It takes me quite a while. Obviously, I have to keep doing it much faster because it's a video every week. So doing that much faster, but those are sort of the timeline. I think the interviews are the easiest, though. So I think just getting the question takes time.
Now, how you feel sitting on the other side of the table?
Listen, I'm okay with like in general also. Even though I am a quiet person in life, I think when I'm talking to people, I can be quite talkative, and so giving interviews also not that big a deal. Okay. I think I just like talking now.
So yeah, moving on to another segment, which is advice to fellow creators. Does every architect or designer should have an online or a social presence?
Okay, so for this question, it's like asking me, does everybody need to have a website? It feels like, I mean, you can do without it also. I'm not saying that it is essential for your survival, but I think people find out much more about it because largely the world is now on the internet. If you're not on it, people won't be able to find you as easily, because I understand, like in Jaipur also, when you have to go for an architect, you won't just always just take out a social media post, look at the architect and stuff like that. You would genuinely go, your family friends got their house, you like their house, built by that architect, so you go to that architect, and that is how it works. But I think more and more people are sort of getting inspired from, even though I go to that architect, I will still take my research with me. Like, these are the kind of things that I want, or these are the kind of things that I was thinking about when I was thinking about my room, or how I want my garden to look. And people take out those inspiration things, which is all from the internet. So at the end of the day, I feel like in other parts of the world, it has changed much more. In India, it will change gradually. But the fact is, having an online presence is becoming one of the most biggest things to have in any field, irrespective of what profession you are in, because the world is on it. And if the world is out there, I think why does the architect is now collaborating with PUBG, but I think they're getting to do newer stuff. They are completely in on doing that, but I think then it's also increasing their brand value, because PUBG is played by millions and millions of people around the world. If it was not played by millions and millions of people around the world, Zahadi architects would not collaborate with it. So having a social media presence, because people are on social media, I think it's a great thing to just be on it. And it as social, and Instagram, Facebook, even though Facebook to now old people, but Instagram right now is like the place to be, especially in social media terms, especially in India after TikTok is banned.
Yes.
But Instagram is one of the places to be. But I would also say it will not always stay there. There'll be new social media platforms. And as new platforms come, people will jump. And you sort of need to jump with it. If you want to stay, relevant. Because people will only talk about you if they know about you. They can't know about you if you don't ever show them a presence. You can't always expect that people will come in Jaipur, millions of people around the world will come in Jaipur to look at a house. That doesn't happen. But you put that house's photo on Instagram and people start contacting you because they see the value in what you're creating. So I think whether you are an architect, whether you're a content creator, whether you are in any profession whatsoever, social media does provide an edge, a benefit for you.
I would tell everyone like who is seeing the video, the followers or the subscriber, doesn't matter. It only matters what content you create, and people will follow if they love the content. So this is like very, very clear. So the last question for you today is, in your opinion, how to keep looking for motivation?
That is a good one. But to be honest, I don't think I have to keep looking for it now anymore. As I said, it's that project, right? I think that is what keeps me motivated, just diving deeper into the next project, because that is something I really want to do. And that is why I dive deeper in back again. But I would say one thing though, motivation is important, but motivation doesn't last. You can't expect to once be motivated and now you're motivated all your life. That doesn't happen. What works are more habits that you create. So, especially even if you're in the social media game, I don't always feel inspired or motivated, but I do know that I need to keep putting out content consistently. Not do it in a way that is detrimental to my health. If I really need a break, I take a break.
Yes.
But the fact is, if it's going to the gym, you want to get muscles, you have to train each and every day. You might have motivation one day, you might not have another day. At the end of the day, your motivation doesn't matter. Your work matters, because that is going to get you results. No matter how motivated you are, if you don't work on it, nothing will come out of that motivation. So I think your habits would last much longer. And when you are in a motivated phase, it'd be nice to create those habits that you can start taking forward. But other than that, I think it is just my content. That is what keeps me motivated. So I think for people also, in general, finding that, I think if you want to look for it now, and this has been true for me, if you want to look for it, there is always something there to motivate you, even in the most meaningless of tasks. In an architecture office, when you're an intern and you're being given some random thing to do, and you feel like, why am I even doing this? But I think within that also you can find something that does motivate you, and that is about your mindset, not about what the work you're doing. I was making a tile design for a toilet. I don't know if anybody would even see that. That was a very hidden toilet in their house. I don't know if anybody would even see that toilet, but I was very inspired. I wanted to do it. So I gave it my all. I think it comes from you. And it might not always come externally, but when you are motivated, when you really want to find motivation in something, you will find it.
Yes. So it is like what they always say, that do what you love. And I think by doing that, maybe it will help you find motivation. And every time when I talk to my followers, I'm like, be punctual to your work and have a schedule, have a minimal amount of schedule for your work. So then everything will be in place. Even in my college, I have not worked at night. So all my 5 years without doing work at night. So I was like,
whoa.
So I was
you should get like a special award for that.
So I finished my thesis 2 days ago before the deadline. And I was watching.
I finished like, when did I finish? I'm just trying to think. I feel like I'm still doing something on the morning of thesis.
Same here. So I was also like editing Lumion. I have to make this walk. I have to
make I know my friends were still like making sheets or making things.
And last day, everyone was like that, and I was watching that Batman show, Gotham.
That
So that was one
you
of
just prepare.
So timing was like, even for this page also I do some kind of scheduling, but it is very hard to have a practice also and run a page.
True.
I'm doing it at whatever pace I can.
Thank you for tuning in for this podcast. I hope you enjoyed our talk. You can also follow us on our other social media platforms such as Instagram and YouTube. We post content daily there. The link is added in the description.